next year, I think. Oh, I don't think, next year. Hi and welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde. I'm a French somewhat beginner knitter and today is podcast number 11. So as usual, I'm gonna go through my finished objects and then talk about my whips, which I've got I think 4 of, and then I'm going to talk about some acquisitions and future plans. I only have 45 minutes to film this, so hopefully this will be a bit of a quicker one, but I hope I won't forget to say anything because I usually do. I've taken some notes, so I might have to watch or look at my laptop just to check that I've said everything that I wanted to say, but hopefully I won't forget anything. And as you can see, we're in a different spot because today is a weekday. I'm off from work, which is why I'm filming this, but that means that my partner is in the living room working, so I have to film in the bedroom. And also the cat is awake. Let's just get into it. As you can probably see, I am wearing one of my finished objects. It's not 100% finished. I've finished knitting it, but it doesn't have buttons and I've not blocked it yet. But this is my jacket number 2, which is a pattern by my favorite things, Knitwear. I knitted it using Jensen yarn and silk mohair by Isager. The Jensen was in the colorway white, I think it's 0. I've got the colorways here actually because I'm gonna forget. I always put everything in the description down below, so if you're curious about that, definitely check it out. And also on my Ravelry, it's always listed as well, unless I forget, but I'm usually pretty good at filling it up. So this is in Jensen yarn in the colorway 0, white, held with silk mohair by Isager in the colorway 6, which kind of gives a mild effect. Don't know if you're gonna see. I have leftovers of the mohair and of Jensen actually. I think I've got 1 skein and a half of the mohair, and I've got I think 70 grams of Jensen yarn left. The Jensen came in 100 grams skeins, so that's why I've got more than 50 grams left. So I would say if you can, I think now Isager sell their Jensen in 50 gram skeins, so if you can buy that instead of the 100 gram, then that means you can, you know, buy a bit less. Obviously this is a bit of an expensive yarn, but so far it's my first time using it. I'm really pleased with it, and it's really cold here today in France, and it's I think the only garment that's keeping me actually warm out of all of my knitwear. So I might have to buy more next year. I think I have enough for this year. So it's not blocked yet, so it's not looking as pristine as hopefully it's going to look. But I am really happy with it and with the yarn, and I'm excited to see how it's gonna kind of bloom a little bit. I'm happy with the size as well. And for the buttons, I'm gonna go, I think, with tortoise shell buttons. I put up a poll on my Instagram, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, asking people what they think would suit this cardigan. So either tortoise shell, white buttons or toggle buttons. And I was kind of leaning towards the toggle buttons, but Morgan from Morgan Unraveled reminded me, or like sent me a DM saying I don't think toggle buttons are very common on V-neck cardigans, and that was a good point. I think I only saw people using toggle buttons on round neck cardigans, and I couldn't really find pictures of one. So I mean, if I can find buttons today that are toggles, I mean, I'm gonna try and see if that's how that's gonna look, but I think I'm gonna go for tortoise shell. So I'm hoping to find them today and add them, and then I'm gonna block it after filming this. For the construction of this, so this is a drop shoulder V-neck cardigan. You start at the back, you do that kind of trapezoid shape. So you start with the cast on, and then you increase to shape the shoulders. This one has a cable on the shoulder, which looks really pretty. And then you pick up for one shoulder, you knit think so. Yeah, I think you pick up for one shoulder, you knit it down to about where you're gonna split for sleeve. Same for the other shoulder, and once you've reached below the sleeves, you're joined kind of in the round, but you're still knitting flat. You know, shaping the increases for the V-neck as well, which I think you stop once you've joined in the round. And then you add the button band afterwards, and then you knit the sleeves, which does involve some decreases, and I've had some trouble with the decreases on the sleeves. I think there are actually some mistakes in the pattern. I mean, I think for the buttonholes the mistake was just like she took the same wording as for one row and the row below, but for the row below it was supposed to be a little bit different because of where you are in the, you know, if you're on the right side or wrong side, but you can easily figure that out, but that is a mistake. And then for the sleeve decreases, there was a trouble with a number of stitches that I was supposed to have before cable, I think, or forward cable, I don't remember. And at first I thought maybe that was my mistake, but when I did the second sleeve I had the same mistake, even though I had followed the instructions. So I kind of did my best. Basically, I think it's on the 10th row that you're gonna have a problem for the decreases for my size, which was size M. But basically what I did was make sure that I had the correct number of stitches for the pattern on the row below, on the next row. So even though that row was wrong, the 10th row, the 11th row, I had the correct, you know, the cable at the right place and the pearls at the right place to keep the pattern going. And I think they look okay. So yeah, there's a bit of things, yeah. And also there's one typo because there's a word still in Danish, I'm gonna guess, but it's just like the word round for like on the 10th round or something. It's the word in what I'm assuming is Danish, so but that doesn't really interfere with the pattern itself. But otherwise it was fairly smooth sailing. The cables were not difficult at all, which I think is why I took more time to knit on this than the book club cardigan, because that one is a much more involved knit, whereas this one is just cabling every 10th row, so you know, it's not as tiring. So that's, I think, everything that I wanted to say for the jacket number 2. I'll show you again, I think, in next podcast when it's like truly finished, for you to see the, you know, post-blocking result, and with buttons as well. But maybe let's move on to the next finished object. So this is my next finished object. This is the Friday Slipover by Petite Knit. This is a design that I had on my needles last year, and then I frogged it, I won't say this summer, and now I finished reknitting it. So the Friday Slipover is a broken rib, all over broken rib slipover design. It doesn't involve short rows, so you just knit the back panel flat without short row shaping. Then you pick up stitches for one shoulder, you knit down, do the same for the other one, join for the under the neckline, and then you knit all the way down to the armholes with increases to shape them, and then you knit in the round, and it's just one by one ribbing at the bottom and on the neckline as well as on the arms, which you usually finish with Italian bind off, and for the neckline you fold it down. I really love this. I knitted it in size medium using 4.5mm needles, I think. I didn't say, but for this one I sized up in the needles as well because I've got a tight gauge, so I used 5.5mm needles for the jacket number 2, and for the Friday Slipover I don't think I have it in this one, so but I think it was 4.5mm needles. And yeah, I casted this on my trip to Japan, and I finished it, I would say, about a week or so ago, but I did have like 2 or 3 weeks when I didn't knit on this at all. But I think when I came back from Japan I was about here on the body, and then I finished the body and yeah, added the neckline and the armhole details, which didn't take a while. Especially the neckline is very thin. I think I would like it to be a tiny bit more. I did think about maybe adding a few more rows, but I mean it's fine as it is. And I did make it a tiny bit cropped on purpose because I didn't want it to reach a weird point on my body when wearing it. And actually I think I should have, but I didn't measure it before blocking, but after blocking I think it did grow a bit, which was perfect because then it wasn't too short, but it just reaches the perfect point on my body. Unfortunately now it's a bit too cold for this, but I mean I wore it yesterday at work and I wore it with like a thin jumper underneath, not handmade or anything, and it looked a bit weird, but it was pretty good, just maybe a tiny bit too cold. But I'm really pleased with it, and I think I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of this, and I wasn't sure if I was into slipovers, but now I think I am. I just did one mistake in the pattern, but now yeah, here it is. I couldn't find it, but I can now. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but for some stitches here I didn't do the broken rib perfectly, but honestly even I have trouble finding it, so I don't think anyone's going to see it. So that's why I hadn't gone back and frogged and redid it when I noticed it, because it wasn't too much of an issue. I used Knitting for Olive, Soft Silk Mohair and Merino in the colorway Marzipan, which I don't think is the perfect color for me, but I mean, I think it's okay for a sleepover because, you know, I'm usually wearing it with something underneath it, like a shirt or a long sleeve, something. Might try in the spring to wear it without, you know, just as a sleepover, the way Petite styles it in her pattern pictures, but we'll see when the time comes. But I'm really pleased with this, and I think I'm gonna get quite a lot of wear out of this. I think that's it for finished objects. I'm kind of rushing through this, not on purpose, but I do have so much to talk to you about. So maybe let's talk about the book club cardigan, because that is, I think, my longest whip. Or my longest whip? The one I have had on my needles the longest. So this is the book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. The pattern and the yarn was gifted to me. The pattern was gifted to me by Sari for the cowl, which we had running along with Jensen, Sandra and Sarah from Two Birds in a Pod, and the yarn was gifted to me from the Rerum Natura. I'll talk about it in a moment. Again, for the cowl, I am knitting this in a size 2 for my friend Jensen for her birthday, Christmas, I don't know, I'm just gifting it to her whenever I finish it. I don't have a set deadline, but I would like to finish it before the end of the year. In last podcast I think I told you I wanted to finish it before end of November. We're like the 20th of November and I mean I have made some progress, but not a whole lot. Since last time, no, maybe let's talk about the yarn before I talk about where I'm at in the pattern. Just in case you weren't around before, I am using the Rerum Natura Ulysse, which is a sport weight 100% wool, beautiful yarn, and Bérénice, which is 55% split kid mohair, 25% silk and 20% wool, both in the colorway Poivre. I really love this combination. I really love the Ulysse, and I'm excited to try a Bérénice with another yarn to see how that looks. But they both look incredible together, and I really love the drape of this. And yeah, I love the stitch definition that it gives as well. But anyways, I finished the body since last time, which I was so glad to be able to do, because the body did take a long time. Like one row was about, I think, 15 to 20 minutes, so that was a while. And so when I asked my friend what length do you want this to be a bit more cropped or not, because I was, you know, I didn't want to end on a weird row for the diamond. I wanted to end either in the middle or at the bottom, and when I showed it to her here, I was on the bottom and I was like, what do you want me to do? And she was like, that's fine as it is. And I was like, yes, because I didn't want to have to do another round of that. And then I picked up for one sleeve, which I've started, but this is taking a while as well, so that's why I have not been motivated to work on it. I haven't worked on it in like 2 weeks, I think, because I didn't want to finish, because I feel like I have so many whips that I was kind of stressed, so I wanted to finish my Friday sleepover, and then I was kind of in a groove and I finished this. But this is gonna come back in my priority, I promise. I know I've been saying that for a while. I am excited to finish it, and I'm excited to work on it again, but I was more excited to knit on the jacket number 2, to be honest. Which I think is fine. You know, I feel like you shouldn't push yourself to knit on something if you're not feeling it. It's okay to push it aside for a while and knit on something that brings you more joy, and that was what was happening for me with this, and now with this, hopefully, is what's gonna happen. I have already made the decision to buy more yarn because I know I was gonna run out. So I think, let me check, but I think, yeah. So what I have left was this, to do both sleeves and the button band, and obviously I don't think that's gonna be enough. I think I'm gonna need a skein and a half for the sleeve and at least 1 skein for the button band, so I've already made the decision to buy more. So I bought 2 more of each with my own money, and I'm hoping it's enough. For the Mohair, I was really lucky. It's the same dye lot, but not for the Ulysse, so I think it's gonna be okay. I haven't really checked the colors, but I don't think they're too different, and because the Mohair is the same dye lot, I hope it's gonna look okay. Yeah, I think maybe a tiny bit more grayish, and this one is a bit more, I don't know. I don't know, can you see the difference? I can kind of see it, but I don't know how to express it. But I don't think it's too noticeable. So I'm gonna try to use the new skeins for the button band and for the ribbing on the sleeve, like the bottom of the sleeve, so that way it won't hopefully look too inconsistent. And hopefully I don't need to buy more, because I know that if I buy more I'm gonna have leftovers, and I would rather just have enough. But we'll see, because the button band eats up a lot. So the construction of this, I haven't told you, I always forget to do that. You start with the back panel, kind of like the jacket number 2. You start with the back panel, you increase you know, the shoulders, and once you've finished the back panel you pick up for the front shoulders, which you then join in the round once you've knitted both, or in the round flat. Again, it's a cardigan, and then you knit in the round all the way down, and then you pick up for the sleeves. I've had to size up in the sleeves. I think so the body is size 2, but I think for the sleeves I have the same number of stitches as for size 5. Which is something most people have had to do. I think maybe because our row gauge is a bit off, and so the number of centimeters that we have for the back panel and the front shoulders, front shoulders, are a bit different than what Sari has, and so we've had to, you know, have more stitches to pick up. I think is what's happening, at least for me. And also bear in mind, if you buy the pattern and buy yarn for it, to buy more yarn than what the pattern says, because we've all had issues with that. That's the book club cardigan. Let's talk quickly about my Cashmere Beanie, which is a pattern by Gregoria Fibers. It is a half twisted ruby, which you start bottom up and you knit for quite a while. It's kind of similar, I think, to the Oslo hat. I haven't read through the whole pattern, but I think so, because you knit a long bit of half twisted rib before you turn your work and then continue knitting and do the decreases to have, I think, for the folded brim. I forgot to say last time, but I haven't done an Italian cast on this. I just did, which is recommended in the pattern, I just did a long tail cast on because it was too many stitches to to cast on for me to do an Italian cast on, and I thought I don't think I'm too bothered with that. I don't think it looks too bad, but next time I might do the Italian cast on. I should put a progress keeper actually, because I don't know exactly how many centimeters I've added since last time, but not a whole lot. I've not picked this up a lot. But this is something that I kind of bring whenever I have something, like whenever I have just a bit of time and I can bring it around with me. I am using Cardiff Cashmere Classic, which is 100% cashmere in the colorway Rerum Natura 511, I think. I've got 3 skeins and I'm still on my first skein. I mean, it's starting to become pretty small, but yeah. But I do still have, I think, like 7 centimeters of this to do before turning my work. So, you know, it's taking its time, but that's okay. The yarn is really lovely, really soft. I'm very excited to be working with this. And I'm already dreaming about a whole garment in it, but next year, I think. Oh, I don't think, next year. Maybe the year after that, we'll see. But yeah, this is something that's moving along quite slowly, and that's okay. Next up, we have the Porcelain Sweater by Lene Holme Samse. I've sized up in the pattern sizes, so instead of knitting the size medium as I usually would, I'm knitting the size large, hoping to get the same amount of positives that the designer has in her pattern pictures, because it's not the same positives as is listed in the pattern description. So she, I think, has 30 centimeters of positives in her pictures, but the pattern recommends, I think, about 20, something like that. So I've sized up. Hopefully that's going to be the right choice that I made. I've not done much since last time. I finished the white before starting the color work. So I've just started the color work here. This is a drop shoulder design, and you do have to do the color work on pearl side as well for the back panel and I think the front panels before you split and join in the round and knit in the round. So I do have already quite a lot of ends to weave in, but I think it's going to look really pretty. I am using gynt. I don't have the whole balls here, I hope that's okay, but I'm using gynt in the colorway white and Soft Silk Mohair by Knitting for Live in the colorway cream. Everything will be on the screen for the right numbers and everything. And then I am using Olivia and Oliver Fibers Foliage, which I think is the organic merino, which was from her Endless Autumn collection, held with Soft Silk Mohair by Knitting for Live in the colorway Olive. And I'm really pleased with the combo. I think the colorway, the green is going to look really pretty with like those rusted colors that you can see. And I like gynt a lot. My gauge is a bit, it's not the best in terms of tension. There's a bit of roaring out, so I hope in blocking that's gonna disappear. And I've sized up in the needles, so for the color work I'm using 6mm needles, and for the stockinette white main color I'm using 5mm needles, so I do have to change needle size in between each, you know, colors. And I'm hoping it's not going to be too see-through. I mean, you can probably see that it is a bit see-through because I think the pattern is supposed to be knit on 4mm needles, but I think it's okay. I think I'm going to finish the first color work chart and then I might check how much I like it, but I don't think I would go down a needle size. I don't know. We'll see. I really love this. I'm knitting this along with my friend Sandra from Ends Knit, so this has been really fun for us to do together. She's a bit further along the way than me, but not too much. I think she's just finished the first chart. And yeah, this is not something that's going to have a whole ton of progress, so if I don't show it in the podcast, it's because I don't have any progress, but hopefully it does. I mean, when I did the color work 2 nights ago. I was really happy knitting on this. This was really fun, so I am happy with it so far, and I don't think I've had any issues with the pattern. It's very concise, but yeah, I think I don't mind. It's a bit different from it's my first time doing a pattern by her. And then I'll quickly talk about my latest cast on, which is a pattern by Paula Strict or Susan Muller. It is the wrist warmers from her Winter Essentials set of patterns. So it does involve a beanie, a neck warmer, mittens and fingerless mittens. So I'm doing the fingerless mittens for my boyfriend, for my partner, in these beautiful color I've cast on a couple of days ago. And I am using a yarn, which I'll talk about more in a video, a vlog that's gonna come up next week. But it is yarn gifted by Hobby. It is their Unicorn Solid in the colorway Moss Green, which I think is 29, which is a fingering weight something. I don't remember the composition of this, but it is really lovely, and it gives a really lovely stitch definition, I think, for this 2x2 ribbing mitten. This is my first time doing 2x2 ribbing, but I think I love it, and I think it looks really good. And I just finished the increases for the palms, and I've put the stitches on hold for the thumb. So I'm hoping to finish this one. This is the first one. I'm hoping to finish it maybe tomorrow or something, and then cast on the second one and gift it to him, which is just gonna be like something that he asked me for, because it's really cold in our flat, so he wants to be able to, you know, work and be on his computer without having cold hands. I think that's it for the whips that we have, but I do have some acquisitions and some future plans that I'm quickly gonna go through. I have bought some yarn and some stitch markers from a yarn festival that I went to, I want to say a week ago, from Lille, but I'm gonna show you them in a vlog, so I don't think it makes sense to show them again in this video, but I have bought that as well as what I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna be on a yarn ban soon, I promise. When I had to purchase the yarn for the book club cardigan again, I thought I might as well buy yarn for my boyfriend's zipper sweater man, which I'm gonna knit him soon, as soon as I finish the book club cardigan, because it was, I wanted to use Gilead by Rerum Natura. So this is what I bought in the colorway Merlot, which is very fitting at the moment, but also is a color that really suits him and that I love personally. So this is 100 grams for 250 meters, and it is 100% wool, and it is very squishy, and it is a huge ball. I've had to purchase 7 balls, so that's, you know, times 100 grams. So I think that's gonna be enough. I did my swatch to see whether I was gonna knit the zipper sweater man light, because I'm a tight knitter. I thought maybe I could get away with it, with, you know, sizing up the needles and everything. And I've also swatched for the zipper sweater man, which is a pattern by Petite. It's her very famous zipper raglan design. I think I might have to go with the zipper sweater man, which I'm kind of happy about, because that might go a bit faster than the other one. But oh, I do have my swatch here actually. I've not blocked it yet, but which one is which? I think the top one is 6 millimeters, and here it's probably 5. So I do have to block this to see which one I will do, but I mean, I do have to finish the book club cardigan anyway, so yeah. I've also had other yarns by Hobby, but again, that's going to be a vlog coming, so I'll talk to you about that then. And then the purchase that I made, that I received yesterday, apologies for the crinkling, is this beautiful color, which is very unlike me. So this is Peer Gynt by Sandnes Garn, which is in a petite knit colorway called Poppy, or 4008, and this is going to be for a test knit that's coming up, so I'm really excited. It's going to be an all over cable jumper. I'm very into my cables at the moment, I don't know if you can tell, and I love my storm sweater so much, which was knit in Cardigan as well, that I just wanted to knit with it again. And I was hesitating between the poppy colorway and the matcha colorway, but I decided on the poppy because I was thinking like a cabled red jumper is going to be so pretty. I will use the matcha someday, but I really love the poppy as well. And then I do have one more test knit that I do have to get started with, but maybe I'll talk about that in the next podcast because I haven't really cast on yet. But I think that's it. I think I've talked really quickly, so I apologize for that. I was thinking maybe next year I'll try to do a podcast every 2 weeks because I feel like I always forget what I talked about in the previous podcast and what where I was at in my patterns, and maybe it would make more sense to try to film every 2 weeks. But that will be in the next year because next month I'm filming Vlogmas as well as regular videos, and that's already going to be a lot. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you're currently knitting on. I would love to know. But yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!